Hey guys, it's your girl Tash. To all my subscribers, big up on yourself. You don't know, up. Guys, listen, I'm back with another video tutorial from my new studio. As you can see, the lighting is good, so I'm excited to show you guys this tutorial. So, as you guys can see, my client has extreme hair loss in the center of the head. And when I say extreme, I am not exaggerating. You know, as you can see, there's barely anything in the crown of the head. So usually I wouldn't do a center part when the hair is this bald inside the center of the head. But the style I'm going to do, it will start from the center, but then it will curve around the head, and this is what I call the anchor braid. So I start gripping the hair from the center as if I'm going down to the side to do the side braids, and then I will take the parting around to the back of the head. Instead of dropping the braids onto the side of the face, it will go around to the back of the head. So that's the reason why I am able to do a center part. But if I was to do side braids, it would not work, and that's just because obviously there's barely any hair in the center of the head for me to grip, so it wouldn't work. So with the anchor braid, I'm going to show you the trick, how I manage to go over the baldness in the center instead of trying to grip on the baldness. And you guys know that I'm very skilled, so if I wanted to grip on that bald spot, I would grip on that bald spot, trust me. But you know, for the sake of the braids lasting longer, and for the client's hair growth as well, because that is very important to me, you know that when it comes to me, I'm always considerate about the client's hair growth. Whatever I do on the client's hair, it has to stimulate more hair growth and not cause any more hair loss. So anyways, this hair extensions that I'm using is my signature extension, and that's the Afro straight ear extension. So that's my grip game Afro straight ear extensions that I'm using. And you can get that to purchase on my website, mygripgame.co.uk. So I'm going to start by gripping the extension and securing it at the top of the head, which is at the start of the braid, which is very, very difficult to do if you don't have a good grip. Because as you can see, the hair is very thin and it's very short at the top of the head. So me starting my braid from the center on the hairline there is very difficult because there's not a lot of hair there. But with practice, you can learn how to grip this. So that's why I'm bringing you my grip game, so that you can level up your grip game. So guys, please leave a comment in the comment section if there's anything that you want me to slow down or explain a bit more as to what I'm doing. So this method that I'm using is called the feeding braid method. So usually you will start feeding braid by braiding the client's natural hair first, and then you start to feed in the extension. But because the client has hair loss issues and the top of his hair is very thin and very short, I had to start my feeding braid by actually securing a knot at the top of the head. And if you're unsure how to do that and the video wasn't clear enough, just drop a comment and just let me know. I have plenty more tutorials where I can make some adjustments so that you can see more close up if you want to. I don't know if that's an issue, because I'm a professional and I do this day in and day out. It comes very easy to me. It is a challenge, but it does come quite easy to me. So when I'm making my tutorials, I am not sure how easy it looks to you for you to like learn. So it's good for you to comment and just let me know what you think. are what you would want me to improve on. So here is where it gets very, very challenging. So as you can see, the parting technique that I'm using, I am starting my part going down to the side from the center of the head, but then I turn that parting around to the back of the head. So I'm not parting from the center of the head and then going down to the side on the face. I'm taking a parting all the way around, and that's what helps me right now to achieve this kind of coverage. So on this second braid, I managed to section out some of the baldness. So I'm gonna create a illusion now to make it look like there's enough hair there on my right hand side, going towards the center of the head, where you can see that there's barely any hair there. So the most challenging ones are going to be the two braids in the center of the head, because as you can see, the way that I section the hair going round, there's barely anything left in the center of the head for me to grip with. So usually when the hair has this much hair loss, I would just go straight back with the braids, because you know, when I'm braiding over baldness in the crown, I usually just need enough hair at the front of the head for me to start my grip, and then I'll create an illusion going over the baldness, and then I'll need enough hair at the back of the head to finish or to join the braid at the back of the head. So braiding over baldness for me is quite easy, because I just need enough hair at the front to start with, and then enough hair at the back of the head to finish with. I don't usually do center parts when the baldness is this much. So even taking the braid down to the side and then bringing it round to the back of the head is quite a challenge. As I said, you have to have quite a firm grip, a very, very good grip, and this is something that you can practice. So as you can see, I started with the knot, with securing that knot at the top of the head, and obviously I have to let my client hold the braid at the start where I started the braid, just to make sure that I'm not pulling too much on the center of the head where I started the braid, because you know that bit is very, very sensitive and it can easily pull and break the client's hair. So it's important that he holds it, not only because I don't want it to break, but also I don't want it to be too tight. So because I grip up that little hair in the center and it's not thick enough, by pulling the braids, by pulling the braids going down, I can cause a lot of tension in that area, and I can even cause the hair to break. So hence why I always ask my client to hold the braid at the start right there, so that I don't create any more tension and cause any more hair loss. Okay, so before I complete the braids in the center of the head, sorry, excuse my my voice. I'm still suffering from the aftermath of having a flu, so my voice is completely gone, but I'm trying to explain this to you as the best as I can. So just bear with me and my explanation. Let me take some time to like catch my breath and try to explain to you guys in proper English. So I'm voicing this video over as I'm watching it. What can I say? I'm sectioning out the Afro straight hair extensions, and I'm sectioning them out according to density. So as you know, when it comes to feeding braid, hold on, this grip right here, pay attention to this. Hold on, I'm gonna zoom it in just a little bit in this area. So I've zoomed in so that you guys can see a bit closer what I'm doing with my grip here. And as you can see, I'm feeding in the hair quite fast, just to build up that density. So I want to get that volume in the center of the head right there, because there's literally no hair in the center there. So for me to create a illusion, I have to keep feeding in quite a lot of hair there so that it can look as if, you know, there's hair there. So that's how I create the illusion. I just keep adding enough hair to make the density the same as the rest of the braids, so that it looks like there's hair all over the head. So that grip at that start of that braid was hard. That grip was hard. This braid is barely hanging on to anything at the start. Barely hanging on to anything at all at that start. But as you can see, it looks natural. There is a bit of gap there between this last braid that I've done and the previous one right here. So you can see there's a bit of gap there. And I mean, the lightening on the camera doesn't help, because the lightening makes it look like it's more bald than it actually is. But I will be spraying some hair fiber there in the center. And I'm not spraying the hair fiber that, you know, that looks like black dye or black powder. You know, I actually use a hair fiber that actually looks like hair itself. You know, I'm using the real thing. So, you know, I will leave a link below for that. I don't think I showed you when I sprayed it in this video, but I'll see when I get to the end of the video. Because as I said, I'm watching this with you guys, and I'm trying to voice it over as I go along, but I really don't remember what I did here. So anyways, let's go over to the other side. So on this side, you should be able to see a lot better because of the position of the camera. So I feel like on this side, you will get a better view of what I am doing, a much clearer view of what I am doing. So I hope that, you know, on this side, you'll be able to like practice. You know, you'll be able to see what my fingers are doing properly, so that you can start practicing yourself. So there's barely any hair at all at the top here. You can see it's very, very thin, but I'm grateful because there's something there that I can grip on. So as you can see, securing that knot at the top right there. So I'm just in one spot and braiding about like 4 or 5 times, and then I add a tiny little piece, and I just keep adding small bits of pieces of hair. So when I'm sectioning out the hair for the feeding braid, I section according to volume. So the further down I go with the hair, is the thicker the pieces are gonna be for me to feed in. So when I'm starting the braid at the top where I secure the knot, I use the thinnest, the smallest, or the thinnest piece of hair I use to secure the knot, and then I feed in another thin piece of hair, and then it gets thicker and thicker, you know, as I go along. So I'm feeding in the hairs a little bit thicker as I go along, so that I can get that thickness as I go along with my braids. And that's how you get the feeding braids to look natural. You know, you just have to start off very small with your extensions, and then you keep feeding more and more as you go along until you feel like you have the desired thickness that you want to have. And when it comes to the ending right here, where I finish off the braids, you know, that all depends on how thick you want the bun to be at the back, if you're going to be tying a bun at the back. So, you know, you just have to use your judgment to do that. So I know I'm sectioning out the hair, and I'm sectioning it out very, very fast because I know what I'm doing. I do this day in and day out, so it looks easy. Well, it's easy to me. I don't know how easy it looks to you, but I hope that you can see what I do. So I start by sectioning out the extensions, them very, very thick, and then I get thinner and thinner as I get down to the last bit, because that last bit there on top, that's what I'm gonna use to start. So that's gonna be the thinnest piece of extensions that I'm gonna be using, obviously, to secure the knot at the top. So the second braid here, it is thicker. I find that one side of the client head is thicker than the other side, and that's something quite common. I come across like a lot of customers who tells me, you know, why is my hair thicker and longer on one side? And I'm like, you know what? It's a normal thing for some people. For some people, one side of the hair is thicker and longer. For some people, the hairline of their hair is thicker and longer. For some people, the back of their hair is thicker and longer. So it's just a normal thing anyways. We all have a good side and a bad side. You know, maybe a good front and a bad front. But anyways, focus back on the gripping and the feeding in of the hair. So, as I said, if there's anything that you feel like need explaining, just drop it in the comment section. But what I really did here is what I said I was going to do. I was going to start by securing the knot at the start of the braid with a small piece of extensions, and then I keep adding more and more extension as I go along to make my braid very, very thick. And usually I don't feed in this much extension to make the braids this thick, but when the hair is this thin with this much hair loss, it is necessary to do this. But I have braided this client here before with less extension. I made the braids a lot smaller and thinner, but he prefers them when they're thick. He feels like they last longer, it gives a better coverage. But for me, when the braids are smaller, they look more natural. So I suppose you have to make a choice. Do you want them to look more natural, like, you know, your own hair, unnoticeable when it comes to extension? Or do you want them to last longer and have more coverage? And, you know, for him, when the braids are this thick, they last longer and they have more coverage. So before I start grippy in the middle here, actually, let me grippy in the middle here so you guys can see. Yes. So gripping up the middle there, you can see it was very challenging, but I held on to something. I'm holding on to something. There's something in the middle there that I'm holding on to. And soon I'm going to need my client to hold that so I don't pull and pop it off. So as you can see, I'm feeding in a good amount of hair at the start. As I said, because there isn't enough of the client's natural hair in the center, I have to keep feeding a lot of hair in just to get that volume to create that illusion. So now he's pressing on the wrong thing. Yep, that one. So now he's pressing on it. I can braid a bit more tighter. I can braid a bit more firm now that he's holding it. So I know that I'm not pulling it too tight and creating any type of tension whatsoever. But anyways, the thing I wanted to say to you guys before I cut myself off is that a lot of people want to know, how long does this last? You know, it lasts 1 month. So it usually lasts between 3 to 4 weeks when it comes to cornrows on hair that is very thin. And obviously it's because once the hair starts to grow, the braids will then lift up and they will start to shift. So I would say, like, after 3 weeks you will see some shifting because of the hair growth and all of that. So anyways, I just use my hair growth oil, my anti-frizz mousse on that, and then I'm gonna get to drying with the blow dryer. So you can get all those products to purchase from my website, mygripgame.co.uk. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. And I know, as I said, my voice hasn't been there because I'm recovering from a flu. So I will be back with more tutorials. So just drop a comment and let me know what you would like to see more of. One love. Best up in the